no matter what graph, diagram, or table you're describing, you shouldn't break these particular rules. Never use bullet points. Write as if you were writing an essay or a letter, just a little bit shorter. When you're writing academic writing task 1, it's actually graded by an IELTS examiner. They look for this really particular in-depth structure, so make sure you follow it. The first one is introduction. The second is the body, and the third is the conclusion. Now I'm going to talk about what you actually need to do in each of these sections. The introduction should describe the purpose of your report and say what overall trends you see. For example, if the graph is climbing up or dropping down, you should mention that. You need to remember that you are describing a graph to someone who doesn't see it. Write what the graph is about, its dates and location. The body should describe the most important trends while all information is summarised to avoid unnecessary details. For example, if there's a graph that has 2 peaks, you should mention them. Tell them when those peaks appeared and what the peak values are. Notice how many distinctive features the diagram has and divide information into paragraphs. 1 paragraph per feature. You should link the paragraphs by sentences that logically connect them together. This is really important. You need to write about all the periods of time and all the subjects of the graph. If it shows several years, such as 1992, 1993, and 1994, write about all of them. If it's about men and women, write about both. Remember, summarising doesn't mean throwing away information. The secret here is to select what's important, organise it, compare it, and contrast it. The conclusion should sum up the global trends shown on the graph and compare them if possible. Don't put any new details in this section though. Now we're moving on to the in-depth breakdown of structure for General Task 1. Not many people are aware that there are actually 4 types of letters in the IELTS exam. The first one is complaint or request for information. The next one is a formal business letter. And the next one is a job application. And the last one is a personal letter. The structure means that your letter must have paragraphs, at least 3 of them. Every paragraph has its own personal job. The first one must define the purpose of your letter in 1 or 2 sentences. Pretty much, why? The second one must explain more about why you're writing the letter. And the third one must say what kind of answer you expect. It's kind of saying why, what your problem is, and your solution. If you stick to this structure, you should get a good mark in the structure section. Now let's talk about the breakdown of the structure for Task 2. It's the same for both academic and general. Let's have a look at the actual styles of questions that are asked first. There are about 10 topics that are covered by the IELTS in the Task 2. They are employment, art, advertising, technology, family, globalization, university education, crime, and the environment. Sometimes you will see music, but it's not very common. An IELTS essay is structured like any other essay. You just need to make sure it's a little bit shorter. There are 3 key elements: an introduction, body paragraphs, and conclusion. We will look at each of these in turn using the essay questions. The first example is this one. Now, if you were going to answer this question, the first thing that you would write is the introduction. You should keep your introduction for the IELTS essay short. Remember, you only have 40 minutes to write the essay, and some of this time needs to be spent on planning. Therefore, you need to be able to write your introduction fairly quickly. So you can start writing your body paragraphs, which are the most important. State a global word such as throughout the modern world or throughout society. The second thing you should do is reword the question into a statement. And the third thing is show your opinion. You must say I feel or I think. Moving on to the body paragraphs. For IELTS essays, you should have 2 or 3 body paragraphs, no more and probably no less than 2. For your body paragraph, each paragraph should contain one controlling main idea and have supporting sentences. Let's look at the first paragraph for the essay about IT. The essay is about the benefits and drawbacks of IT, so these will need to be discussed in the separate paragraphs. Here is the first paragraph body. The last part of the essay should be the conclusion. The conclusion only needs to be 1 or 2 sentences, the same as the introduction, and you can do the following. Restate what the essay is about. So rewrite the last sentence of your introduction in different words, pretty much. Give some thoughts about the future, or your opinion again. Here's an example of what the conclusion should look like.